Our destination?
Dressing for your body.
Let's go for a ride.
Welcome to Girls Trip.
Let's go for a ride.
Let's go for a ride. There has already been much discussion.
Quite to stir.
30 seconds before we were starting this, trying to figure it all out. But if you were with us yesterday, we were talking about the color analysis that we had done, which was all pretty straightforward, I feel like. Now we're getting into a little bit more up for discussion because Faith, who did our color analysis, also gave us a sort of like body type analysis and went through some trends with us.
There are generally 5 body shapes. And again, it's very general. It's categorized. If you feel like you don't want to put yourself in this box, you don't have to. But I'm just sort of giving you these buckets and you see where you sort of more gravitate towards. So number 1 is a rectangle shape. You sometimes you'll also hear it as a boy shape. It simply means that your proportions generally are the same without a lot of distinction. Shoulders, waist, hips, generally the same. Not a lot of waist definition. So that's where we get the rectangle shape from. So then we have inverted triangle and triangle. So for a triangle shape, all that means is your bottom half proportionally is bigger than your top half. And again, if we're talking about an inverted triangle, that simply means that you carry more weight on your top half than you do on your bottom. Okay, so those are the 3 so far. And then we have hourglass. Hourglass is sort of a balanced body shape in that shoulders and hips are generally the same with a defined waist. So with a smaller waist, that would be hourglass. And then last but certainly not least, we can call it apple, we can call it oval. It's like fruits and shapes, and people have come up with all these names, but it generally means that you hold your weight in your midsection. So you tend to, if you're gaining weight, you tend to gain it in your midsection. Your top half is smaller, you have smaller legs, and your midsection is what tends to be bigger on you. So those are the 5 body shapes. So once you know what you are, right, and you can do the measurements, you can actually get the tape, and I do this with my clients. You can get a measuring tape and you can measure your shoulders, you can measure your bust, measure your waist, your butt, your hips, and then you come up with, you know what, my bottom half is a little bit bigger than my top half. Oh my God, I'm a triangle. I mean, and again, it's not that dramatic, but the more you know, I mean, it's so much better for you when you're shopping, when you're dressing.
So I would say we're all still figuring out, well, some of us. Joy's knew from the beginning, before Faith talked to you, what your body type was. Yeah. And that was, you said, from your dress fitting, right?
When I went to get my dress fitting for my wedding, my tailor, I guess, was like, after she took my measurement, she was like, classic hourglass. She was saying that because my dress was so good for my body shape, which is that really cinched waist with the flowing out to, I'm most confident when I am wearing a like maxi dress that has like such a tight waist, but then flows out, but then a looser top area. Okay. So that's because my bust is definitely a little bit nicer, I guess. I'm trying to be positive here. And my hips definitely come out more. Not so much to this, when you look at me from the side, it doesn't look like that, but from the front, they come out more. So my waist is my defining piece that I want to always accentuate. So in every single jeans, it's high-waisted. Every single pair, except for the boyfriend loose. Those are mid-rise, but they still look really good for some reason. It's just the way that they're cut. And 90% of my jeans are the high rise, and then my shirts, I like them to be a little bit more flowy if possible. But Faith made a really good comment too, that I was like, that I totally get that. If they're flowy and short, it looks like a tent on me, which is horrible. You look like, ridiculous. So it's usually a flowy, slightly longer shirt, And the dresses are always the same, just like the classic sundresses with the defined waist and then flows out. I've always known that I was comfortable in that. And then when I got fitted for my dress, it was just confirmed. Yeah.
I really wasn't sure what I was. And so I took my measurements and I am a triangle. And then we were all the hullabaloo.
I'm just lost.
Before we started, because we're not really sure what to do with Rebecca. Because Joy and I thought immediately rectangle. She's a rectangle. And then that's not what your first thought was.
I thought I was an hourglass.
You thought hourglass. And then we took your measurements and
like,
you might be an inverted triangle.
Yeah, we're all different. Yeah. Oh my God.
But Rebecca's sheer length, I think, causes an optical illusion that, we don't always realize, especially because you have such a long torso.
Yeah.
That makes a huge
my
difference.
torso and my legs are like the same height, which normally if you're it varies, but when you see someone tall, initially you're like, oh my gosh, their legs are really long. And I think that's why most people think I'm actually shorter than I am, because I don't come across as like a giant because of my torso being a little longer. So my legs look closer to the floor than if they would on someone who's really tall. So I think that also throws me off too, even with like shopping, because I'm like, I want tall pants, but I also really need sometimes length in my torso. And it just like, it makes it very interesting trying to shop for clothes.
Because you wear belts a lot. And
I
notice
belts,
when I see you wear belts, I'm always like, how low rise are her pants? But they're not.
They're not.
It's just that your torso is literally that long.
And my waist is definitely smaller than my hips, so I'm like, to keep my pants on, I need a belt. Like I need a drawstring, anything like that. I hate just like even leggings. Like I hate wearing them unless they go up a little bit higher, because they just will. I'll be like, yanking them up.
Yeah.
So
it makes sense for me, triangle, because I feel like I have always had a little bit of an issue with jeans fitting too.
Okay.
Now I wear the high-waisted, but I definitely find that it's sometimes, in order to get it small enough to fit up here on my waist, it's like tight in my hips and butt. So that makes sense. But I just feel like we need to rename all of
we should make
these
up new
things.
names.
So
100%.
if you were listening yesterday, in the new store that we're creating, to make it easier to shop,
we will have them
your
on
tones,
like the top, right?
we're gonna have better names for these things for sure. Okay, so you might have been taking in different advice. I don't know. So you're probably still processing.
I'm processing a lot that just happened in the last 5 minutes
of what
it is. Like
what
I
it
don't really
could
know
be.
where I am, but we're gonna figure this out as we continue to talk.
Yeah, because then when we were Googling, it was giving some examples of like people who are rectangles, and like the top one that came up to me was Cameron Diaz, and I was like, yeah, that's Rebecca's body. Hello.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe because you are so lean and tall that you give off a different type of.
and I think the way that you dress, even if it's not necessarily for that body type, like I tend to wear a lot of baggy shirts just in general. But when I'm like working out, obviously, or teaching, I'm in tighter clothing, but I'm baggy pants. Like I'm never in like that. So you can't really see the whole silhouette.
Yeah, she was like, trust me, guys, when I'm wearing fitted dress, you're going to see my hips. And I was like, okay, calm down.
No, I think this is really good discussion, because this is the point of what Faith was talking about. Like, if you know your body type, it's easier to buy the right clothes to accentuate or define the parts of you that you want to. And for Rebecca, you're wearing your loose shirts, but I mean, it doesn't look bad at all. But you could get away with a lot other types of cuts.
And I just have I'm
just
like
don't.
a lost puppy. In the store. I'm like,
Yeah. I mean, Faith's main thing was, don't get too caught up in what your shape is. Like that's more foundational knowledge that's going to help you build. But what you are supposed to be building to is to dress so that you get your proportions in balance.
Yes.
So if you're more top heavy or bottom heavy, or if you're a rectangle, that you know what sorts of things to look for
and to avoid.
Yeah. This was hard for me. The color ones, I was just like, yep, that sounds good.
Great.
I'm wearing my one emerald green jewel tone that I have today. But the body thing was harder for me because I don't like a lot of the solutions.
There's also that too, yeah.
That I'm like, that like doesn't, not my style. It doesn't, I don't feel confident in that. And maybe it's just a matter of pushing past that and trying more and more and more of a specific style until I find the one that really fits. But a big thing for me that, and Faith is not the first one to bring this up to me, but she brought it up both in terms of body shape and also in terms of, because we were kind of talking about our lives and different things that we have to do or things that are coming up. And, Joy is going to be going to Europe soon, and Rebecca loves to throw the best fancy dinner parties. And I'm sort of the working mom. I'm talking to a lot of like teenagers. So I kind of, if I'm being hired by a school, let's say, I have to come across professional, but I don't want to come across corporate. And I want to be somewhat relatable to them. And then I might have to go from there to the playground to pick up my kids from school, or like, whatever it may be. So, she was like, number one thing, blazer. Yeah. And I was just like,
but there's hoping so many nice ones. Though,
no, there are. And listen,
cuts.
I went through my blazer phase of life. I feel like I don't know, maybe it didn't go out a little bit, but I feel like all of a sudden it went from everyone was wearing blazers to all of a sudden no one's wearing blazers. So I feel very like out of place when I'm wearing one. My husband also hates me in a blazer, like hates it.
Well, you don't have to wear them home in the bedroom.
Yeah,
you can wear them.
And like, listen, and I've said I'm not very like, I'm not going to wear this because my husband doesn't like it. Like, I'm going to dress in whatever I want. But it's nice when you feel like the person that you love feels like you also look nice. So that has made me feel a little self-conscious. And other people, my brother makes fun of me every time I wear a blazer. Like, where are you going? To the office.
I've got the same thing though.
Thomas make fun of you?
I know.
Shocker.
Yeah, got the same thing where he's like, I don't really like that.
Yeah. So I feel like people that I'm seeing socially are never wearing a blazer. So I feel like I'm like really sticking out like a sore thumb when I wear them. So I was like, I don't really want that to be like the go-to answer.
Yeah.
But it is, and it's not only good for that like, transitionary wardrobe, but also she was like, you can do something with like a more of a shoulder pad. And I was like, oh, even worse. Or like puffed shoulders, because that will help bring balance to, me having a bigger bottom half. And I was just like, okay. So like, I think there's that balance between, you want, these give you guidelines, but if you don't feel good
in them,
wearing them, then I don't know. I was kind of just like, I'm not sure where I want to take this. However, on the other hand, she immediately was like, if you're in Vern Triangle, you want to stay away from like the pleated maxi skirts. And I was like, I love a pleated maxi skirt, but I also buy them because I visually love them.
Yeah.
And then they sit in my closet. And I try to pull them out.
And you don't wear them.
And I don't wear them because I can never make it look good on me, which is so frustrating.
When she's right, guys.
Yeah, so I'm like, she's totally is right about that. But it's
I feel
frustrating to me because that's what my eye's drawn to.
Yeah.
I think they're so beautiful and they have so many colors and patterns. And it's just, I guess, been in for the last couple of years. So there's been a lot of them.
Okay, let's break this down for a second. Let's just talk. Okay. Let's just talk. Sure. I have an image, because we have been doing that for the past 5 months. The image in my head that I like, when we have definitely talked about this before. I have an image in my head of what I look like and what I want to look like when I look in the mirror, right? That doesn't always reflect back at me. So when I'm online shopping, a lot of dresses, for example, that will come to I'm drawn to will be these straight, just like midi dresses, right? You could not get a worse cut for me.
Yeah.
But I'll buy them because I'm like, that's what I want to look good in.
Yeah.
And I'll buy them, and it tempts me every time. I look ridiculous. It looks like a potato sack. And I'm like, how is this possible? It looks so good on her. How is this
Because
possible?
you have the same problem apparently that I do, which is in my head, I have Rebecca's body.
That's what we talked about.
And you're like, yes.
In our heads, we look different than what we
that
actually
happens a lot.
Than what we actually
And
are.
It's also hard sometimes online shopping because it's on a specific model to make it look good.
Yes.
Okay, let's just talk about that for a minute. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I was like, did I say something good or bad there? Because I was like, that's a problem.
Well, I'm gonna agree and disagree with that, because I feel like traditionally, yes, it's on the model, so it's gonna look the best. It's been tailored. They're not just like throwing it on, right? To their proportions, whatever.
That's what I think.
But lately, I can't even online shop because the picture of the model is like this.
Oh yeah, that's true. They're like,
and I'm like, I can't even.
I don't know what that is.
The garment, and all of the pictures are like that. It used a couple years ago, it was like, you get the front, you get the back. Then you have like two like stylistic pictures. Now it's like you go on like Zara's or something like that. That is it. I'm like, I literally can't even tell what kind of piece of clothing that is.
True.
That's true. In
Again,
pants,
when we have our store, it won't be like that.
No. They will be boring photos.
Yes. That is what you need though when you're picking out something. I feel like
it's true.
Or you need to be like, will be in our store. You will see this dress on all different body types.
Yes.
Like,
which a few stores have
they do
started
have
to do that.
You have them.
Okay.
And it does sort of burst my bubble a little bit.
You're like,
well,
ooh.
They do, but they don't. I feel like it's the
Sometimes
size
they have
zero.
the extremes.
It's the size zero model
okay.
and then a plus size model.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, but like, where's the spectrum too?
we
Like
want-
for all
we
of the
want-
women who are,
yes.
we all have different body types. Like it would be helpful to know what this looks like.
Yeah, we need all the
Exactly.
changes.
I would
just-
like more variety.
Which is basically just telling me more and more
But
how
I-
much money I waste online shopping.
But I forget where I was shopping recently because I'm looking for a dress for a wedding, and maybe Bloomingdale's, and they only had two. They had like your standard model, and then they had someone maybe closer to me, and she also happened to be a really pale redhead, and so I'm like, oh, I love this dress. Then I looked at her and I was like, oh my god,
No, I've done that.
like that.
I've done that. But they are getting better at certain stores are getting better at using models with the right coloring for that garment.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll notice she's blonde. That's not going to look good
That's
on
not
me.
gonna look
I know, and I know it won't. So a lot of stores will have started to do that, and
Unfortunately, this poor model, nothing looked good on her.
Yeah.
I was like, is this hopeless?
yeah,
I don't know.
it could backfire because everything could look bad on them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a balance.
Yeah.
I feel like we're being very judgy. I'm sorry on this one.
We want
but-
what we want
It's
right
just,
now.
I think
We're not finding it.
this is a tough topic to like
Yeah.
digest and put into terms where like I feel like I can go shopping with this information.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's I don't disagree with what makes me look better. I think less volume on the bottom and more volume on top is going to help me look more balanced. I just don't love my options for how to achieve that.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of like, big sleeve things, which I don't love. I mean, yesterday I was wearing my favorite blouse, and that had like a little bit of like a flutter sleeve, which I think I like for that reason, but it wasn't this like, whoa.
But I think that's a perfect balance. It's something that you're comfortable with, but is still exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
To balance out.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect compromise.
Yeah. So did you feel like you were like, I don't really know if I like all of these potential...
No, I mean,
solutions?
I think I am open, and especially when she was talking about different dresses, I'm like, yeah, I think I'm drawn to those as well. I would say I can swing both anywhere with like dresses. So I think I'm really open to that. I probably stay away from a little bit more of that like straight line that she actually was talking about, like the rectangle. Like I've never bought a rectangle neckline. It's always a V-neck. Or I've done like halters, but most likely like spaghetti strap and V-neck. So that would be interesting.
We should try it.
I've never tried that before. And I just don't go for the straight look because I always think I look like a potato sack. Like that's what I feel like makes me like any dress that doesn't have shape to it or just hangs. I'm like, ooh.
And see, that's what I want. I want to buy a dress where I'm like, this just hangs on me effortlessly.
This is
It's not snagging on my hips.
I like the A-line, like, or even what you're talking about, Joy. Like, I think that's I feel confident in that. But I have never found one that I'm like, ooh, I like how open this, like, it always just feels like it's just hanging on me. So
No, but like you in like
one.
a nice like slip dress.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
oh
you
my
have the body for
God,
a
you
slip
have
dress.
like, and I
that.
just picture that like 1920s girl with a long cigarette, like this,
the little thing,
and like the little thing, like That's your
love that era though.
But
of
that
dress.
would, like, you would thrive in the 20s because
I
that
would be doing
dress
that
would look
Charleston.
so good on you.
Yeah.
All right, we have to try this.
It's just
Okay.
going
A little bit of,
outside of the
like-
comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah, I think everything about my analysis was like step out.
Step out.
Yeah, step
Step
out.
out.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun.
Do it afraid. You're
it afraid.
you're the one who told us that, Rebecca. Okay.
All right.
Yes. Okay. I think we all are going to go into the dressing room with a mantra.
Afraid.
A little.
Afraid.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
A little bit about that. Okay, so the other thing that Faith sort of went through with us was some trends that are happening right now.
So let's talk about what's trending right now. We've seen a lot of well, first of all, you can't find a skinny jean to save your life, right? Like that's been the deal. So skinny is like, I mean, good luck trying to find that if you still want to wear that. But it'll be back, for sure at some point. So everything right now that we're seeing is a wide leg or a barrel leg, things like that. I have a barrel leg on right now, which I love. They're so comfortable, and I'm so happy that that's the trend right now, and that's in abundance when you're shopping. But a lot of wide leg, a lot of barrel, a lot of flare. So that's sort of that's a 70s. Fashion is cyclical, right? So that's sort of a piece of the 70s coming back for sure. So we're seeing that. We're also seeing, color wise. Butter yellow is, the color of the year. So lots of yellow in different shades, but really that butter shade is really popular right now. And it's really pretty for the spring. Florals, I was going to say florals, but it's not very groundbreaking. And I'm trying to just think of what else we've seen trend-wise that would work. We're seeing, again, I think this goes in line with the wide leg jean, also wide leg pants. So a lot of pajama pants styles, but like matching sets, but again, a wider leg on those. Also maxi skirts and maxi dresses. A lot more of those are back. So less of the mini skirt, less of the mini dress, much more we're seeing long, maxi midi for sure. In dresses and in skirts.
I have never really been one to stay on top of trends or to really consider trends when I'm shopping, but some of them are like slapping you in the face. Like you can't
you
not
can't avoid
notice
them.
that they're trends. And I'd be curious of what people's perceptions are, because I'm finding that a lot of trends right now for like the college generation, maybe high school college generation, I am like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
It's feeling very dated to me. And I'm just like,
Give me an example.
don't like it. It's
the
the,
90s stuff.
mom jeans
Yeah.
with the like white nurse sneakers and, the tiny little handbag.
It's like
and the big
90s.
scrunchies and stuff like that, where I'm just immediately like, ooh, like what's going on? And so I have a very hard time like wanting to try any of that.
Yeah.
But then I'm finding that the moms of these high school, college kids are adopting those trends so that they feel like they're maybe, I don't know, staying younger and trendier. And I'm like,
I
what
don't
are
think
you
so.
doing?
Yeah.
you just look like you're trying to dress like a 15-year-old.
Right.
But it's like so confusing, because then I perceive them that way. But then maybe their daughters perceive it as, oh, you're staying trendy and cool, and I'm the one who looks outdated and old because I won't adapt to the styles.
History would say that is actually what's happening. Yeah. But no, I completely agree with you to an extent, because I actually do love I don't like a 70s like flare when it comes to jeans. That's too much for me. I was never into the flare, but like, and even like the barrel like style, people go crazy.
Yeah.
Like you are wearing two barrels on your legs.
You look bow-legged.
You look bow-legged. You look dumb. But then there are some barrel jeans that are just like a little bit less dramatic, and they look really, really cool. And I just really like this kind of looser, casual feel. I think correct me if I'm wrong, I think where your problem is it looks too lazy sometimes, or a little baggy,
No.
or too casual. Maybe
too casual.
I think that's
You look like a
is
kid, though.
maybe-
Like I have an image of children, us wearing like people wearing that as kids,
Yeah.
and now as
Yeah.
a 40-year-old.
But like my
30-year-old
sister's like the perfect, like Faith's the perfect example of this. Like she was wearing like in her videos that she sent us, she's wearing the barrel jeans, but she's doing it with her jacket, sweater over like her button down. Like there's a way to do it to look more.
Yeah, she doesn't look like she's trying to be 16.
No,
not
like
at all.
she's dressing for her age while also being trendy at the same time. Like you can do that. So I think what we're seeing is people who are
do everything at once.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I think that's
too much is happening.
that's the challenge. Like pick up on the trends, but make it appropriate for your
do,
age.
like, one.
Yeah.
And I think that you still have to, like, for me, because gosh, probably like 3 years ago now, we all went jean shopping.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I was like, maybe I'm getting sick of the types of jeans that I have, so maybe I do want to try a different style. And I tried on the one, and you were like, no. And I do think that the style right now of the like wider leg mom jeans, I think it's very, very hard to find ones that complement a triangle body.
They don't work. They don't work.
Because it just makes my butt look and hips look gigantic.
Yeah, they don't work.
So I'm like, I don't know
That's why the
if I
tapered
can
skinny jean look
Yeah.
feels
Yes.
a little bit better.
Yeah. So, and sorry to throw my husband under the bus again, but he is of the skinny jean era. He is as like, don't come home in those mom jeans. Like, what are you doing? So yeah, it's harder to break out of that for me with a different style jeans.
But you don't have to jump on every trend.
No.
Yeah.
No. You don't.
Not every trend is going to work for you. You're not even going to
Your
like
body,
every
yeah.
trend.
But as Faith was saying, with something like a staple in your wardrobe, like there are some things you don't want to be wearing a feathered boa. Like just don't go buy one. But when it's jeans that you're wearing all the time, she was like, you're gonna have a hard time even finding a skinny jean anymore.
Yeah.
And so when it changes that drastically and
That's
you can't
hard.
even find your own staples, that
That's
is
tough.
like almost forcing you to find a new version.
Something in that.
I did like what she said too, though. It's like if you feel like something that you own is super dated but still in good shape, like don't throw it out. It's gonna
Yeah,
come
it's
back
gonna come
around
back.
again. Like just wait, it's gonna come back. Skinny jeans.
She's
Hope
gonna
so.
get herself in a fight with those minimalists.
No,
Like-
she is. Yeah, that's true. Faith is not a minimalist in any sense of the word. She was definitely harping on the fact that that stuff does come back around again. So yeah, I think just wait it out. Yeah.
Oh, I'm still gonna wear them. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not stopping.
Oh, I haven't. Yeah. I like just recently found a pair of jeans that's like more of a wider leg that I'm like, all right, maybe I could see myself wearing these. Otherwise, I was wearing skinny jeans, like, and I had a couple maybe boot cut, but I'm like, they just still don't feel amazing.
Yeah.
So it's hard. You're still like, all right, I'm gonna wait for a good pair to finally roll around 3 years later.
I do wonder a little bit, like, do we draw from in clothing items how, like, when we felt our best in our body and what we were wearing then, does that carry over? Because I feel like, I definitely felt my best in my body, probably college. I was the most like active. I was the most fit. I was, the best weight, all of those different things. And so that was when I was wearing things like skinny jeans that I felt the best in. And I think it's always like, if I could have any body, it would be that body, my college body. And that's what I was wearing.
So that's why you're wearing those clothes.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
it gives you that sense or that feeling.
But it's like when that's not your body 2 kids later and in your 30s anymore, it's like, does it still look like that on me, or do I
Yeah.
need to like let go of that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we only have 5 minutes left. So I don't know if we can really.
We can't
Oh
dive
my
into that.
gosh.
We can't dive into
We
that.
can't dive into my major issues, but I will say I do think upon reflection, I do think right now is probably when I felt the most content out of all my almost 32 years of living. I think it's right now that I feel the most like, okay, I feel good right now. Not great, good. And I do feel like the 30s are a good like fashion era for me. Like I'm not super trying to dress like a college girl, but I'm also not dressing like I'm, in my 50s.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of options, good options that make me feel super confident. So the mom jeans, as you like to call them, I actually just, my boyfriend loose jeans, like they feel so good. The cardies and the sweaters and like that just makes me feel really good. The sweater
I actually
dresses.
love your boyfriend jeans.
Yeah.
I think it's frustrating when, like, cause I actually bought you a pair of jeans, I think
which
from J.
I
Crew.
cannot wait to wear them
they're like
again.
the jaw- they're
once
like
the
the-
drawstrings,
yes.
once they get a little bit warm,
'cause
once it gets
they're
a little warmer,
thinner, right?
they're thinner material.
And
yeah.
I love those.
Yeah.
And I tried on when I was buying them the same pair, and I was like, these don't fit my body.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want that look, but
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
I can get that look.
Yeah.
So it's like finding out what I can achieve,
What?
yeah.
You can do, yeah.
which is harder.
That is frustrating when you, especially when you're as close as we are, and then you see things that are like.
You're like, oh, I want to try that.
So Lauren gave, I think it was for a wedding, and I was like, Lauren, I have like no good dresses right now, and she literally sent me home with like 10 dresses. I'm not kidding, and I was like, jackpot! And I was like, this is the best day of my life because all Lauren's dresses are beautiful. So try on dress number 1. Okay. All right. Better luck with dress number 2. I went through the 10 dresses, and I was like,
yeah.
what is happening?
Yeah.
They all look fantastic on Lauren. Fantastic. Not a one looked good on me. And that's reality. Like every single body is different.
Yeah.
And everybody is different. So, I mean, it's important to be aware of that. Don't feel less than.
Yeah.
If you're not looking good or you don't think that you look good in something that like your BFF is wearing because you just are different.
You're just different. Yep.
yeah,
That's the way it is.
for sure.
Yeah.
If you want to hop on a trend that doesn't have to fit your body, apparently I hadn't even heard of this. It's the handbag charms.
Did not know about that.
Didn't know that was a
So
thing.
cute.
And when she first said that, I was like, not for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking of like, you know, what company, like Pandora, like charm bracelets.
yeah.
And I was
That's-
like never
no.
into that. But then she was like, they have them like leather ones and
Yeah.
cloth ones
like,
and just
mine
like a
currently
little
has one.
embellishment to like add to it. Could be
Yep.
a tote bag, could be a purse. And I was like, oh, maybe I
Yeah.
could get into that of like, you
I will
know,
be doing
It's a little
that.
fun,
a little
but
fun
not, but
personality.
Yeah, I'll be doing that in Europe for sure. It's a
Yeah.
nice little
Ooh,
addition
yeah.
to something. Yeah.
Yeah.
for
And then
sure.
it could, you know, symbolize different seasons and things like that. So
Yeah.
let us know if there are any trends that you love or hate. And if you're also trying to figure out your body shape, we're right there with you.
Yep.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you
Yes,
haven't.
please.
And most importantly, don't forget to enjoy the view wherever your ride takes you.